Today we celebrate the birth of another Zero. We're about 25% of our way to PewDiePie's subscriber count now. He has 8 zeros, we have 2, so that's great. That aside, I've prepared a special video for you today. I saw this comment on one of my last vids saying, "Bro, make FpS game!" And due to my fear of going down a subscriber, I followed his command. I also wanted to celebrate the theme of 100, so I created a game revolving around the number 100. And just like in most game jams, I went for the absolutely easiest way possible to stick to the theme. You win the game if you reach 100 points. I know, strong solid connection to the theme. I've been playing a lot of Rocket League recently, so I got inspired to do some type of physics-based football game. I knew that whatever I'd make, I'd need a first-person camera. And in most FPS games, you can see your arms kind of floating around, and I swear these are arms, come on, just use your imagination. I added some movement to the player, and naturally I'm blaming Brackeys because he clearly must have forgotten some crucial part of his code. Next up was physics, and the movement felt pretty natural and fluid from the get-go, so I didn't tweak it too much. I then created an arena because, unlike the real world, this game has no ground to pick up the ball for when I miss the goal, which I do a lot. I also always take an excuse to work with Unity's dynamic lighting system because I cannot for the life of me understand it. And let's be real, I ain't baking unless we're talking triple layered chocolate brownies. I also thought it would be a great idea to try out HDRP, even though it's not even slightly needed for this project. Spoiler, it wasn't a good idea, but we'll get into that later. I then started thinking about the design of the game, and since this random guy in the comments demanded a first-person shooter, I felt like I had to commit. I made a gun out of 2 cubes and then cut off one of the player's arm. I started working on a goal because it seems rational to let the player score if you're gonna measure their performance that way. I implemented shooting because it seems rational to let the player shoot if they have a gun. I then realized how freaking impossible it was to hit the ball, to the point where you got frustrated before even learning the basics. No. So I shelved the whole shooting idea temporarily and tried something new. Now please, in the upcoming clip, be mature, try to look at this with adult eyes. I know it looks bad, just please. I thought about various ways of moving the ball, and I thought maybe swinging a stick to hit the ball could be an interesting mechanic. I played for about 3 minutes before I got motion sick and my eyes were bleeding from all the fast-paced camera movement. Instead, I made the stick into a cannon because I thought a bigger bullet would make the ball easier to hit and aim towards the goal. It for sure got better, but the main mechanic was still heading in a direction I didn't really like. I took a break from working with the gun and started focusing on feedback. I made some particles for when you hit the goal that instantly made things better. I then made some more particles for when you hit the ball and started experimenting with a trail for the ball. I tried using Unity's trail renderer, but it looked really weird using a 2D trail for a 3D sphere, so I gave it a last attempt using some very basic particles following the ball. With this attempt, I think I hit a new low working with particles. At this point, I was getting desperate to get the main mechanic right, so I gambled and tried converting the cannon into a laser. I thought it would make it feel more like you're in control of your actions, and indeed it did. It felt good. I made this laser using raycast together with a Unity line renderer. The ball flies to the opposite direction of where the laser hit, so there's still skill involved in hitting the ball into the right direction. I made the laser shoot from the cannon rather than your torso, and I also fixed a bug that left the laser kind of floating in the air. I liked the direction the game was heading, so I focused on completing the core loop. My first change was randomizing the ball spawn, as it was so predictable that you could stand in the same spot and aim towards the goal every single time the ball respawned. It was now time to focus on my UI. My first stop was adding a score counter. I made a simple counter sitting at the top of your screen and then added some bounds. I then added a timer so that you can track the time it takes you to reach 100 points. After that was done, I added some more particles because you can never get enough feedback. I then realized HDRP was a massive waste for this project, and it brought down my frame rate to 5 every time I launched the game. I challenged myself to get a similar result in URP, and after battling with pink walls for a few minutes, I got the budget Unity graphics back. I added a pause menu with a mouse sensitivity slider, because that's about all customizability you need in this game. The slider goes from dragging your mouse across the desk to rotate 5 degrees to seeing your life flash by as you breathe on your mouse.
More particles.
The ball and goal were looking real basic, so I pressed the upgrade graphics button on my keyboard. In reality, this means download a shader pack from the asset store and then tweak all the values until it looks better. The core game loop started to feel more and more complete. I made a quick victory screen that lets you see the time it took you to reach 100 points and a way for you to restart the game. I made some final touches to the gun, and those were basically the last changes I did to the game. Now, this was the first FPS game I've ever made in Unity. And honestly, I had a lot of fun. It took me about 2 days to complete, and I'm happy I managed to get the core loop complete. Of course, there's a lot that can be improved, and I had thoughts of making it multiplayer, but I'm slightly torn. I don't think I ever managed to win in under 2 minutes myself, but if you think you can beat me, feel free to try out the game on itch.io. I made a web version of the game so you can play directly from your browser. That's it for me today. Thank you again for the 100 subscribers. Hope you have a great day. Take care.